Now that we have looked at the individual elements of the SMAC stack, let's put them all together and try to understand why the SMAC stack is an important prerequisite to understanding Internet of Things. If you pay attention to what I'm saying for the next 10 minutes, understanding Internet of Things will become very easy. So please focus your attention to what I'm going to tell you in the next few minutes of this session. Before I explain to you the importance of SMAC for understanding IoT, I want to throw you a question. Let's assume we were living in a world where all these four elements were operating in a linear fashion. That is, each technology finished and the next started. For example, you first had social, then you had cloud, then analytics, and then the mobility. There is no scope for two technologies to work in parallel. Let's assume we are living in such a world. Now that you know the purpose of each of those elements of the SMAC stack, can you take a few minutes and think through which of the combinations make sense? If you are living in a tech world, would you first have an analytics, then social, then mobile, and then cloud? Or would you have first a cloud, then mobility, then social, and then analytics? We have many permutations and combinations with the four technologies. I want you to take a couple of minutes, and while you are thinking through on this, I'm going to play you some background music. I'm sure you have your answers by now. Let me tell you the answer with an example. In the earlier section, if you remember, we had a video on digital disruption and there was an example of Nike. We all know that Nike carries sensors in their shoes. Imagine you're wearing a pair of Nike and you have sensors that are inserted into your shoes. What do the sensors do? Obviously, they generate data. They generate data when the shoes are being used. And what happens to that data? Where does it go? Will it use the analytics? Will it use the cloud? Will it use the mobility? Or will it use the social media? This data generated by the sensors is in raw format. It definitely will go to the cloud system. So sensors from your shoes generate data and that data is sent through to the cloud system. In the cloud, this data is stored. Then it is analyzed. After analysis has been done, insights will be drawn. Whether you are healthy or whether you are not healthy, whether your calories are being burnt or whether they are not being burnt. These insights are then sent to you on your mobile device. If you are happy with the results, you will share it with your personal friends, your spouse. And if you are not happy, you definitely will share it with your doctor. So this is an example where I have put together the SMAC stack with the example of the Nike shoe. The Nike shoe generates data. This data goes to the cloud. At the cloud, this data is analyzed. When you get the analysis, when you get the insights, It needs to be shared to the people who matter on their mobile devices because mobility is the last mile. And finally, this insights can be shared on the social network. Thus, the SMAC stack comes together in the world of IoT. Let me use another example to explain the importance of SMAC in the world of IoT. Let's assume the room in which you are sitting. You wanted to maintain the temperature of a room within a certain threshold. So what do? You place about 6 temperature sensors in your room that capture the temperature at that particular location. These temperature sensors are capturing data about the temperature every 5 milliseconds. What do the temperature sensors do? Yes, you got it right. Each of those 6 temperature sensors will send the data to the cloud. In the cloud, there will be analytics. We all know analytics is application of certain mathematical models on the data. Here, the maths is pretty straightforward. We are going to take an average of all the data generated by the 6 sensors. We are just going to add them and divide it by 6. We get an insight. We know that the temperature of the room is probably, let's say, 26 degrees Celsius. And we wanted our room to be between 22 to 24 degrees Celsius. So now we have an insight that the room temperature is beyond the threshold. So what do? Imagine there is an admin personnel who is responsible for maintaining the temperature. Or you have housekeeping who is responsible for maintaining the temperature of your room. Whoever is the responsible person, a message will go to the mobile device of that person saying, in room number so and so, the temperature is beyond the expected threshold. Take action. Now, this person may have a group or a team that works for him, and he probably has some kind of connectivity, maybe WhatsApp, maybe some group messaging, maybe Telegram or whatever. So he sends a message out and asks somebody from his team to go and manage the temperature of that particular room. So if you see, even in this case, we have the temperature sensors generating data. This data goes to the cloud. In the cloud, it gets analyzed. There are insights. The insights are sent to the mobile device of a particular person, and that particular person may decide to share it on social network. Thus, the SMAC becomes a crucial part of the IoT solution that is based on the temperature sensor. To explain this concept, I used a very simple assumption that we are living in a world where the technologies work in a linear fashion. But in reality, it is not like that. Technologies work with each other very much in a mesh format. Let's say the same example of the temperature sensors. The sensors generate data. They go to the cloud. From the cloud, it is analyzed. Before sending it to the mobile device, the analytics system may be programmed so that it can come back and alter the thermostat of the room. Or it goes to the mobile device of the admin person. Before asking any of his team members to go and check it out, he may activate a few more temperature sensors, collect more data, derive more insights before he decides to take a decision. So you see, in the real world, the SMAC stack works with each other in a very complex format. But that aside, the key point here is when we are dealing with IoT, there will be sensors and the sensors will generate data. This data needs to be stored on the cloud, needs to be analyzed beyond the cloud. The insights need to be taken to the right person, and maybe there is some kind of social involved. The key takeaway from this session is when you speak of IoT or when you are dealing with IoT, the SMAC stack is equally important. The real world, the sensors will play a part, but if you want to control the real world, if you want to make your IoT solution useful in the real world, you will need to build the SMAC stack with same amount of intelligence that is needed. Just sensors are not going to do it for you. A powerful SMAC is an essential component of an IoT solution. To conclude, understanding the SMAC and having a grounded knowledge on the SMAC technologies is a very important prerequisite to understanding and implementing Internet of Things. Hope I've made this clear through this session. Please keep in mind, I repeat again, the SMAC stack is a prerequisite to understanding Internet of Things.